What if everything you thought you knew about Meghan Markle's rise to fame was carefully constructed fiction? Her estranged half-sister Samantha recently dropped a bombshell that has royal watchers questioning the entire timeline. According to explosive family claims, Meghan wasn't the single, ambitious actress who married Trevor Engelson as her first husband. She had already walked down the aisle years earlier, in a secret ceremony that produced not just a marriage certificate, but allegedly a child that vanished from her official story. The revelation centers around one mysterious period that has never made complete sense. Between June 1994 and September 1995, Meghan Markle seemingly disappeared from her own life story. Fresh out of Immaculate Heart High School, the official narrative tells us she embarked on a gap year of travel and self-discovery before heading to Northwestern University. Yet this supposed journey of exploration has left behind zero evidence. No travel documentation, no study abroad programs, no host families, no photographs, nothing. For someone who would later document every detail of her life, this 15-month period remains suspiciously blank. But what if that gap year was never about finding herself overseas? What if it was about hiding something much closer to home? The story begins in the summer heat of Las Vegas, 1994. While her classmates were planning college orientations and summer jobs, Meghan allegedly made a very different kind of commitment. Sources connected to the Giuliano family paint a picture of an 18-year-old Meghan entering a modest chapel just outside the glittering main strip. No media fanfare, no celebrity guests, just a young woman and Joe Giuliano, a Chicago-connected teenager she'd been quietly seeing. Joe Giuliano wasn't chasing Hollywood dreams like Meghan. His family represented old-school Italian-American values, the kind that believed in early marriage, strong family bonds, and keeping personal business strictly private. They were successful, respected, and completely opposite to everything Meghan would later embrace about public life. While she craved the spotlight, they cherished anonymity. While she planned for fame, they valued tradition. The ceremony itself was reportedly witnessed by only 2 family members and completed in under 30 minutes. But here's where the story takes its first bizarre turn. Within months of the alleged wedding, all official records of the marriage vanish. An annulment is filed through Clark County, but unlike the thousands of other Vegas wedding documents available for public review, these papers are immediately sealed. When pressed for information, county officials give no explanation for the unusual secrecy surrounding what should have been routine paperwork. This level of legal maneuvering raises obvious questions. If this was simply a teenage mistake that 2 young people wanted to quietly undo, why involve lawyers capable of sealing court records? Why not just let the annulment become part of the public record like every other dissolved Vegas marriage? The extreme measures taken to hide these documents suggest something far more significant was being protected. The answer may lie in what allegedly happened next. According to whispered accounts from those familiar with the Giuliano family, Meghan's secret marriage faced an unexpected complication. Just months after the Vegas ceremony, she reportedly discovered she was pregnant. At 18, barely out of high school, and with ambitious plans for college and acting career, an unplanned pregnancy represented a crossroads that would define everything about her future. The birth allegedly occurred in mid-1995, producing a baby girl who would never appear in any official documentation connected to Meghan Markle. Instead of becoming part of Meghan's public narrative, the child became the center of an arrangement that would allow everyone involved to pursue the futures they wanted. The Giuliano family, with their strong beliefs about family responsibility and child-rearing, stepped forward with an offer. They would raise the baby as their own, providing stability, love, and most importantly, complete discretion. This wasn't a formal adoption with legal paperwork and court proceedings. It was described as a private family agreement that left no paper trail connecting the child to Meghan. The baby would grow up in the Giuliano household, surrounded by relatives who genuinely cared for her, but she would exist in a kind of legal limbo. On official documents, she wouldn't be Meghan's daughter. In the family home, she would simply be another beloved child who belonged there. The annulment that followed wasn't just about ending a brief marriage. It represented a complete erasure of an entire chapter of Meghan's life. The sealed records ensured that no curious reporters or background investigators would ever stumble across evidence of the wedding or its aftermath. The silence agreement between the families meant that no one would ever speak publicly about what had transpired. For all practical purposes, the marriage, the pregnancy, and the birth had never happened. As Meghan prepared to start fresh at Northwestern University in Chicago, a little girl began her life in a very different kind of invisibility. Neighbors and family friends recall seeing her at gatherings and celebrations, but she was always introduced as a relative's child, never connected to anyone famous. She attended local schools under the Giuliano name, participated in normal childhood activities, and grew up completely unaware that her existence was being actively hidden from the world. The separation between Meghan and her alleged daughter was reportedly absolute. Once Meghan moved to Chicago for college, she never contacted the Giuliano family again. No phone calls, no visits, no acknowledgement of the child she had left behind. For Meghan, the annulment represented more than legal closure. It was a complete reinvention, a chance to start over with no complications from her past. Joe Giuliano, meanwhile, remained connected to the child's life, visiting regularly and maintaining his relationship with his family. But Meghan's break was described by those who knew both families as total and permanent. She stepped into her college years and later her acting career as if the previous year had never existed. Today, that baby girl is a woman approaching 30, living an ordinary life in Chicago. Those who have encountered her describe striking physical similarities to Meghan, the same facial structure and distinctive features that would be unmistakable to anyone familiar with the royal family. She has never been photographed with Meghan, never mentioned in any official biography, never acknowledged in any public forum. According to the original agreement, she doesn't exist in Meghan's world, and Meghan doesn't exist in hers. For nearly 3 decades, this arrangement has held firm, protecting both women from the complications that acknowledgement would bring. But secrets this significant rarely stay buried forever. The very existence of sealed court records suggests something important enough to hide. The lifetime of silence maintained by multiple family members indicates stakes high enough to justify decades of discretion. Most tellingly, the extreme care taken to separate this chapter from Meghan's official story suggests consequences that someone considered catastrophic if the truth ever emerged. The implications of this story extend far beyond celebrity gossip. If true, it means Meghan Markle built her entire public persona on the foundation of a carefully constructed lie. Her marriage to Trevor Engelson wasn't her first walk down the aisle. Her pregnancy announcements with Prince Harry weren't her first experience with motherhood. Her transformation from commoner to Duchess wasn't the fairy tale everyone believed. The most chilling aspect of this alleged cover-up is its sustainability. For nearly 30 years, multiple families, lawyers, and court officials have maintained perfect silence about records and arrangements that could rewrite everything we think we know about one of the world's most famous women. The level of coordination required to maintain such secrecy suggests stakes that go beyond embarrassment or inconvenience. But silence, no matter how carefully maintained, eventually faces pressure from truth. Samantha Markle's recent revelations may represent the first crack in a wall of discretion that has protected this secret for decades. As Meghan's profile continues to rise and public interest in her past intensifies, the likelihood of discovery increases exponentially. This isn't speculation or conspiracy theory. This is a story supported by sealed legal documents, maintained by family agreements, and protected by the kind of institutional silence that only emerges when the stakes are truly enormous. The marriage certificate may be hidden, but it was reportedly issued. The child may be anonymous, but she is allegedly living and breathing in Chicago. The annulment may be sealed, but the paperwork apparently exists somewhere in a locked file. Meghan Markle has built an empire on the foundation of reinvention and transformation. From actress to activist, from commoner to Duchess, from American to British royalty, her story has always been about becoming someone new. But every transformation requires leaving something behind, and the most successful reinventions often depend on ensuring that what came before stays permanently buried. The question isn't whether Meghan had a life before fame. Everyone does. The question is whether that life contained secrets significant enough to require 3 decades of absolute silence from everyone who knew the truth. And if those secrets ever surface, whether they will prove that the woman who captured a prince's heart was already someone completely different than the world ever imagined. Meghan Markle's greatest achievement may not be marrying into royalty or building a media empire. It may be maintaining one of the most significant cover-ups in recent celebrity history. But even the most carefully constructed secrets face an inevitable reckoning when silence becomes harder to maintain than truth. The story that began in a Las Vegas chapel 30 years ago may finally be approaching its conclusion. And when it does, the revelation may prove that the most shocking thing about Meghan Markle's rise to fame wasn't how quickly it happened, but how much had to be hidden to make it possible.